To give them advice in a segment that we call Cut This, Not That. Oklahoma Senator Tom Coburn. Senator, I know you spoke to the president yesterday. Is he talking about, do you feel comfortable talking about some of the things that he would rather cut as opposed to the Pentagon?
Well, look, first of all, there's a lot of money that can be cut that the American people are never going to feel. And I agree that sequestration is a blunt instrument. It's kind of like mowing the flower beds instead of taking the weeds out of it. But the fact is it's going to have minimal impact if we give him the flexibility to do it right, and that's what we ought to be about doing. But this is not going to have a major impact on a $16 trillion economy. What it is going to have an impact. All of a sudden, as the American people know, there's a lot of foolishness going on with federal government dollars, and it needs to stop. And just like the $10,000 paid for dances to promote the trolley in San Diego, that's an absolute waste of money in a time when we're borrowing that money to pay for that.
Right. So, instead of small business loans, we leave $10,000 for trolley dancing. And you also brought up this to your office, $386,000 for Tai Chi studying. What is there to study about Tai Chi?
Well, I mean, there isn't anything to study that would be a priority for the American government at a time when we're in the shape we're in. Right. You know, Brian, we kick out $364 billion a year in payments for duplicate programs, according to the Government Accounting Office. And, you know, they may not like it, but we can streamline lots of these programs, eliminate the duplications, over 1,500 programs. Right. We could eliminate that duplication and save $100 billion a year.
It's unbelievable.
So you wouldn't have to be, and that doesn't touch the Pentagon.
I know, but still, there's nothing there. And just to go through the last example, $1.65 million in Amazon Center for Excellence in Malaria instead of cutting back TSA agents. But in the big picture, the president would rather have not done this. But do you believe the president sincerely tried to negotiate his way out of Sequester?
No, I don't. I wasn't in on the negotiation, so I don't know. What I do know is there was no leadership from the White House to come to a resolution to ask for flexibility to make these very simple, painless cuts that can be made. Right. And now you have the administration out there talking about how the barn's on fire, when in fact all they need to do is pull a few hay bales out of the barn.
Senator, there's a big story, first reported by the Washington Post, followed up by the Wall Street Journal. The president has got a huge operation with one focus for the next 2 years: get the House back from Republicans. Do you believe that's true? And what evidence do you have that might indeed be true? By the way, the president's been campaigning after having already won.
Well, I think, you know, there is a big political divide ideologically as well as politically in this country about whether or not the government's the answer to our problems, or self-reliance and initiative and personal responsibility are the answer to our problems. And President Obama has decided that the thing that built this country isn't going to work anymore, and he actually thinks more government's the answer. And most Oklahomans don't believe that, and I think most people in the country don't believe that, but we haven't done a very good job as conservatives and believer in the real nidus and focus of the benefits of this country, and explaining that to the electorate.
Right, and we'll see what happens if he's just going to be campaigning for the next 2 years and not governing. It's not good for anybody. Senator Coburn.
Well, leadership matters. Leadership really matters, and he could lead to solve a lot of the problems. And what he's doing right now is leading in a campaign against those that might have a differing point of view about how to solve our problems.
It's very frustrating to watch. Senator Coburn, thanks so much.
You bet.
Straight ahead, he's one of the most commercially